This is Dimitri from Dimitri's Travel and Tips. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about short-term versus long-term travel. So, what do I mean? Okay, so most people, I think, in my experience, do short-term travel where you go someplace for a weekend, 5 days, 1 to 3 weeks, and then you go back home to your regular life, blah 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 blah. Now that's all fine and dandy, but there's also the option of a long-term travel that most people, I think, feel is unattainable and impossible for them because of one reason or another. Now, I'm not going to get into these reasons in this video, but if you want to see some more information about long-term travel, please refer to my couch surfing video and any other videos that might pop up around here to get more information. Now, this long-term travel is going to be for 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, several years. This is a very different kind of traveling. I'll start off with short-term travel, since it's more familiar. You know, you go to Greece for a few weeks or something, and you go around and you travel, you see some places really quickly, and generally you go through maybe a city every 3 to 5 days so that you can hit multiple places in the same country, right? Now, this is great and all, and I'm not discounting it. I think everyone should do whatever kind of travel is within their means. Just as long as you're traveling, I think you're going to see benefits in so many ways. Everyone should travel, guys. But I think doing this kind of travel can lead people to believe in maybe some stereotypes or other things that might not necessarily be true for a country, because you'll be going to mostly tourist destinations, sometimes tourist traps. The people that you meet will probably treat you as a tourist, and you won't really get to see the real country unless you're very lucky or in some special circumstances. If you're not interested in that kind of thing, don't worry about it, and that's great. Keep doing what you love. Now, this kind of travel can also be a little more expensive sometimes, because not only are you going to have to buy, most likely, a round-trip airfare ticket versus a one-way, or even buying those tickets in a shorter amount of time, you're going to have to stay in accommodation that is geared towards short-term rentals, things like this, and you're going to kind of pay a premium for this sort of thing. If money's not an issue, I guess it doesn't matter too much to you, but there are better ways. And if you have the means to travel long term, check out this video about traveling in Korea, then you can save so much money, guys. When you're in short term, you're going to be rushing and rushing and rushing. So you're going to get very tired very fast. By the time you're finished your vacation, you're probably going to feel like you need another vacation. We've all been there. I've been there. Sometimes you just need to do it. But now I'm going to talk a little more about long-term travel and the benefits of it as well. When you're doing long-term travel, you're usually getting a one-way ticket somewhere, and from there, you're either living in that place long-term, or you're starting off there and moving country to country, you know, over the long term, over the course of a few months, a few years, something like that. This can be very good for your wallet, for cultural understanding, and for your mental well-being as well, because you won't be rushing around everywhere trying to get in all the spots before you have to go home. You're going to be able to kind of settle in, relax, maybe rent out a place for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, get a good deal, you know. Maybe you can even buy a car if you need to buy a car for that place, and then at the end of your trip, sell it. Because over the long term, this will be much more cost effective than simply renting a car for your entire duration, since, like accommodations, cars come at a premium for the short term. Now, when you settle into a place, you'll kind of get used to the neighborhood, you'll meet your neighbors, people in the community. People will start to recognize that you're not just a fly-by tourist, and you're trying to, get to know them and the place better. And I think they will really appreciate you more for that. People will treat you better, they will treat you differently, and they'll probably have conversations with you that wouldn't normally happen with someone who's only there for a few days or a week. You might get invited to house parties and things like this. You'll get to know more local places. You'll get to understand how life actually works in the city, since you'll be there for a much longer time and actually observe things over time. You also get to save on your airfare because you just get a one-way ticket, which is much cheaper, and you are there. You use public transportation, preferably if you're trying to save money, and you kind of live a more minimalistic life. If you're traveling around a lot, you can't always be buying souvenirs and junk and furniture and clothes and all this stuff because you have limited space in your car or luggage or whatever, and it's just not feasible. This is another way you can save money. Again, I want to point out that this is not just me trying to promote long-term travel, because I know it's not for everybody. But, short-term travel is great because you can see a lot of places in a short amount of time. But you kind of see different sides of places. And not to discount the value of that, it just depends on what your goals are as a traveler and what makes you happy. I prefer long-term travel. I like to get to know a place better. Other people, they don't care. They just want to go, they want to relax, they want to have fun, they want to see the sights and get back to their home life. So there's pros and cons to each. Now, so far I've only talked about the pros of long-term travel, but let me get into some of the cons. If you're traveling around, you might be living on your savings, so maybe you're a little more financially unstable. This is not always the case, and I recommend that if you attempt a long-term travel, that you have some means in place, not just savings to survive on, but some way of earning income, even if it's a little bit, to make those savings last much longer. Figure out some gigs and things to do. Anything to help support you along the way so that you don't have to kind of just scrape by everywhere that you go. Sometimes it's nice to splurge. Now, in addition to this, maybe you're going to go through culture shock living long-term in some place. You're going to not be used to people treating you in these different ways that I outlined earlier. And this can happen. It's happened to me before, and you can also maybe get depressed or sad, very lonely if you're traveling by yourself. You can miss your family, your friends. Maybe something happens to you while you're traveling and suddenly you don't feel safe because it's just you. You don't have anyone there with you. Or if you're traveling with friends, there's all kinds of different dynamics you have to think about. So it's not all glamour and sunshine doing this long-term thing. In addition, as I mentioned, you have to live more minimalistically. There is a consumer culture in our modern-day society, and because of this, a lot of people don't want to live this way. They don't want to sell their stuff. They want their stuff. They like their stuff. It makes them feel comfy and cozy inside. But this is one of the realities you have to face. You have to not buy every souvenir you find. You have to think about. You need to plan a lot of stuff. Now, some people might tell you they just go somewhere and they see what happens and they have no plan. This can work for some people, but I think to do this in a more effective and safe way, and a way that you can get the most out of your time and travels, because time is your most valuable resource, guys. You really should do a lot of planning beforehand. I'm usually planning trips at least 6 months ahead of time, usually 1, 2, or even 3 years ahead of time. So make sure you have a plan. Don't just go in willy-nilly. You won't get as much out of the trip, I think. So yeah, and again, guys, this is not for everybody. You know, don't do anything that you're not comfortable doing. Some people just aren't cut out to travel all the time. Some people are just made to be in one place. But these are some of the things that you need to be aware of as a long-term traveler. You have to plan, be financially aware and independent, live more minimalistically. The pros is, you know, freedom, location independence, you know, depending on how you're financing this, financial independence, getting to live abroad and constantly travel and see new places and live a life that a lot of people envy, whether or not it is as glamorous as the Instagram stories may make it look. Sometimes it's glamorous, sometimes it's not. So just don't believe everything you see on the internet, guys. And the short-term travel, it's more expensive. You don't get as much depth in a country or a city. Maybe you have to rush, and after your vacation, you're exhausted, and then you have to go back to work. But some pros are you get to see a lot of places. You get to do a lot of things in a relatively short amount of time. And you don't have to plan too much. You can just go there, do something for 5 days, see everything, and go back home and be secure and comfortable and all that sort of stuff. So, am I saying one is better than the other, guys, at the end of the day? No. It just depends on what you want and what's best for you in your place. But regardless, guys, if you're going to be doing some short-term or long-term traveling, you're going to need to know what kind of stuff to pack and how to pack. So why don't you check out this video right here that I made. It's really great. It kind of explains how to pack for vacations and be prepared for everything you need and everything that might happen. And you can do this with a small suitcase as well. You know, I don't like baggage fees on the airlines. Those are crazy, guys. So yeah, check it out. And as well, you'll find links to all of the wonderful gear that I have tried out and recommend in that description page of the video. Buying these things, clicking on the links, will help support my channel, guys. I do this channel for you guys, and I love it when I get support from all of you. In addition, I do also offer travel agent services and travel planning. So I've never mentioned this in my videos, but I'm going to do it today. If you are planning a trip to some country or a city somewhere, whether it's for a week, a month, a year, or multiple countries, I have many different packages, and the prices are flexible, of course, guys, depending on the situation. But I can offer guides, service, advice, one-on-one talks, and that sort of stuff to sort of help you out with all that. And you can check that out in my Facebook page. You can find the link in the description below, guys. But anyway, marketing speech over. I'm just going to do this one. I don't like to inundate you guys with too much spam marketing. But anyway, I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that it's taught you some things and given you a new and better perspective on short-term and long-term travel, and which might be a better fit for you and your goals. Until next time, guys, see ya.